really familiar. I've seen you before, haven't I?
Barry.
Barry.
Barry Allen.
Right.
It's fine.
Sorry.
Some people are just meant to be in your life.
What am I going to do with you?
Well, I can think of a few things. Might need a stretch first, though.
You told me the dead don't want anything. Either I'm willing to do whatever is necessary, or I shouldn't be up there at all.
Which is exactly why I can't be.
You can't kill murder. You can't get revenge on evil. You can only fight them where they live.
X-Men.
My claws aren't coming out.
Snicked.
I'm trying, but
Schnickety schnicked.
darn it.
All right. Welcome back to part 2 of episode 86 of the Fandom Zone, everybody.
And we start with Arrow.
I'm Charles. She's Karen.
That's all that.
All that. If you should go back and listen to part 1 and come back to part 2.
That's right.
All right. So we're ready. Let's jump right in. Arrow, episode 9 of the 5th season, picking up where we left off with What We Leave Behind, written by showrunner Wendy Miracle and Beth Schwartz.
You know what? She did not curse this episode.
Well, you know, a broken clock is right twice a day.
That's right.
That's all I have to say about that.
That's true.
So-
Someone must have been looking over her shoulder.
Directed by Antonio Negrete.
Okay.
So, what's our A, B, and C, Karen?
Going off book.
Okay.
See what I did there.
Yep.
Billy, don't be a hero. Don't be a fool with your love.
Very nice.
Thank you. That's my second story. Billy, don't be a hero.
Excellent.
And we only hurt the ones we love.
Right.
Or we always hurt the ones we love, really. But
So,
that's-
going off book.
that is him with his book.
Yes.
But
Yeah. So,
wasn't exactly the guy from the book, was it?
you mean the list?
Yeah, but it's a book.
Yeah, I know. So, essentially, this episode is a nice little flashback to, and we get some flashbacks back to season 1.
Right. Except it wasn't something we saw in season 1.
No, these are almost like lost, untold tales of the hood, right? Right?
Wasn't it? It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And this is what I loved so much about this episode.
So we've got Oliver talking like, "You have failed this city."
Right. And I love that they actually, like, put in stuff that would have happened back then. Diggle walking in to the bat cave.
Right.
And he
The
said-
Arrow Cave.
Right. And he said stuff like, you know, I'm getting tired of this. You giving me the slip all the time. But I brought you some Big Belly Burger. And so it was still in the time where where Oliver was, you know, running off.
Right.
And
Now,
Diggle.
the thing I liked was the nod to the season 1 running thing of Oliver going to Felicity for help on stuff,
And
only
lying.
and lying with these really lame ass excuses.
Right. And there's a thing with the red pen where, okay, so it goes from her having the red pen down in the Arrow Cave to her dropping the red pen in the past.
Right.
But when they have their first date, she says something to the effect of, I was chewing a pen when you first came to see me. You know, they're
Yeah.
reminiscing. He said, I remember I came to see you and you were just so real. And she says, yeah, I was chewing a pen. And he says, it was red. That's what he remembered.
Oh, he noticed the color of the pen I was chewing.
Right. So this is like their pen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but anyway, that was kind of an Easter egg for Elicity people.
Right. Which I'm sure they loved.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Although it wasn't.
But it was the good times, because it was the good times when Elicity wasn't nearly as annoying.
Yes.
Right?
There was no Elicity.
Yeah, there was no Elicity wasn't a thing. It was just like everybody wanting Oliver to get with Elicity.
Right.
Or, I mean, get together with Felicity. Excuse me.
Right. Yeah. We knew what you meant.
Yeah. So that. All right. So we had that.
I loved those flashbacks. They were
Yep.
great. It was very cool. It was like seeing something new that we hadn't seen before, which is true. We haven't seen it before.
So
But
we find out that
the show was so good.
yes, memories. Oh, sorry.
And his old suit, and Diggle's still like in his "I hate you."
Remember when Arrow was good? I remember when Arrow was good. I remember. It's the member berries from South Park.
From South Park. I remember.
I remember. Remember Tauntauns? I remember
They talk really high.
Yep.
I
remember.
remember.
I remember the hood. I remember. Yeah.
They sound like Cartman.
Right.
It's the same guy.
Yeah, I know. Well, there was one guy that did, I remember.
Yeah. I remember.
Yeah. Real deep voice. All
Okay,
right. So we find out that we get this flashback with the Hood going after Justin Claiborne, this corrupt pharmaceutical business owner.
Right. Well, because Curtis was attacked outside his Christmas party, right? And he is in the hospital, and it turns out that he was nicked in the neck, and they found this clorazepam or something like that in his blood. And when they analyze the stuff, he remembers
I remember
that the medicine, the chemical that was in his system was the same stuff that this guy manufactures.
Right.
And that's what led them to this dude, to this, what's his name again?
Justin Claiborne.
Justin Claiborne.
Yeah.
And that's why they go to the guy's office.
Right.
Off the building. And they also find out that everything was turned on in that building. So
Yeah.
that's okay.
And I'm sure this matters because...
Turned on.
Oh, yeah.
Not
Not that kind of turned on.
No.
But, Felicity ends up informing the team about Prometheus's ties to Claiborne.
Right.
And so they investigate one of his old warehouses.
Mm-hmm.
Prometheus ends up leading Green Arrow into an abandoned office and fights him.
Right.
Prometheus gets the upper hand, but then Wild Dog shoots Prometheus's sword out of his hand.
Mm-hmm.
And then, all of a sudden, Artemis attacks Wild Dog.
That's right. What?
Tara! Excuse me. Oh, sorry.
You were with him
Judas
all
contract.
along? I was working with him all along. You have to be stopped.
Yeah.
You're a criminal.
Yeah, she's like, oh, the city needs to be saved from you.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, flash bomb arrow.
Right. Flash bomb.
What's his name on
Krieger.
Krieger on Archer? Yes, flash bomb.
Phrasing.
Yeah, that.
Okay, so I have to say,
Yeah.
at that point, that's when they should have run and taken everybody and gotten away.
Yeah.
Except for the team that was going to fight him. Okay, so let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Why were people still in the safe house?
Who knows?
Because that safe house isn't safe anymore.
Wendy Miracle wrote the episode.
That was really the only hole I could see in the whole thing. Is that why could they even lure him there?
Yeah.
Because there shouldn't have been anybody there.
Right. Totally agree.
That's my only point.
Yeah.
With the whole thing. Otherwise, I could see everything else going down the way it did. Okay. So anyway.
Let's see. Oliver ends up deducing that Prometheus is at Claiborne's former office and goes there alone.
Well, yeah, they end up taking everything from the warehouse. Everything.
Right. Oh, that's right. Yeah, because they get some information that turns out to be about Claiborne's illegitimate son.
Right.
They
find a bunch of stuff. Then
Right.
Billy ends up going to the warehouse, takes a picture of the kid, and sends it to Felicity.
Right.
Before he gets snatched.
Yeah.
And they analyze the picture, and it comes up in a search where his mistress filed for paternity, and it comes up as being his illegitimate son. And they figure out, oh, well, it's not him, it's his son.
Mm-hmm.
And he ends up going to this other place, which is the place that weaponized tuberculosis so that his cure would need to be used.
Right. It's all a big money-making scheme.
Right. He infected people manually so that he would end up making money on the cure, which makes him evil, which means Prometheus is an idiot because he deserved to die.
Right.
Sorry, you lost your dad, but he was an asshole. Pardon my French.
Pardon my French.
But you're an a-hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a bad dude. He did not deserve to hang out anymore. So whoever this Prometheus is.
Yeah.
Okay, so Billy is taken, which means guess what?
Yep.
He ain't Prometheus.
Nope. So you might as well just cross that off the who is Prometheus list.
Right.
The suspect list.
He ain't breathing.
Yeah, because we, so, like I said, Oliver, basically goes there alone to confront Prometheus. And he finds that Prometheus has staged it to resemble Oliver's prior attack.
This was a really cool scene, by the way, where they kept flashing back and forth.
Yeah, they kept interspersing. And this is where I think it was a credit to the director.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'd have one scene in the present and one scene in the past, and the good contrast or comparison against
one where he was walking through reliving the past, and then the past scenes where it was like really actiony.
Yeah,
and seeing him shooting a bunch of people and fighting people.
Yeah, so basically, as he's remembering everything as he's in the modern day walking through.
It was really a good staged scene.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah, it was. I agree. So Prometheus tells Oliver that he studied him and will take everything from him piece by piece.
Yep.
And then Oliver sees Prometheus out of the corner of his eye, shoots him 3 times in the chest.
Yep.
But it's Billy.
That's not the right one. It's not the porn music.
Yeah, I was going to say. Big time fail, because that would have been something totally different if it was the porn music.
Yeah, and it devastates him.
Yeah.
That he finds out it's Billy. And
it's like, I'm sorry, Felicity, I killed your boyfriend.
Yeah.
Whoops.
So how does that happen? That he calls the police and says what?
Yeah.
The Green Arrow killed
No, he
Billy?
probably pins it on Prometheus.
Okay.
I would. Wouldn't you?
So what does he do? Does he have throwing stars in his backpack?
I don't know. It's a good question, isn't it? Well, I'm the mayor. I can make this go away. Or they get rid of the bot.
It's reported
That's
in
true.
the paper that he's dead.
Yeah. So you would think there would be an investigation, but Wendy Miracle wrote this episode.
He takes the arrows out, I'm sure.
Yeah, but still, you would think there would be an autopsy, and that would lead to an investigation.
Right.
In the real world.
Mm-hmm. He is wearing Prometheus's outfit, though.
Even on Gotham, it would work. Or there would be an investigation.
Right. That's true.
Right?
But they do have MEs on
That's
Gotham.
true. But
And
not on Arrow.
They don't have MEs cast on the show.
Yeah,
so.
I know.
Yeah, okay.
So,
again, hand wave.
So Oliver goes back to the Arrow Cave, tells Felicity, whoops, I killed your boyfriend. Sorry.
At least he's honest.
Yeah, for once he doesn't lie about it, because based on what we know about the show for the past 5 seasons, you expect Oliver to okay, I'm just going to keep this to myself and not tell anybody.
Died.
Yeah. He died somehow.
Right.
Yeah.
Prometheus showed up and killed him.
Yeah. And then, no, I can't trust you because you killed him.
Right.
And then, yeah.
He comes
CW drama.
I would have expected that. Prometheus killed him.
I was waiting for it.
And then later on she finds out, and
so maybe the Arrow writers have learned a little something that maybe we're not going to go down that road we've been down 5,000 times before.
Let's hope so.
So anyway, he explains the situation to the team. Felicity says this was Prometheus's fault.
Right, lets him off the hook right away, which
right.
I'm assuming she's still not thrilled with him. But
well, no, and Oliver's like, everybody should get away from me as far as possible.
Right.
And then Diggle goes in for the hug.
Yeah.
It's okay, bro. I got you.
Well, they have to know how devastated he is by this.
Well, this is, a different Oliver because he does actually talk to people.
Right.
As opposed to keeping it to himself. Now, I was wondering if he was doing this partially because, well, I don't want the team to see me lying. I'm trying to cover this up. I'm coming clean.
Right.
About it.
Well, that's part of it. And he's learned that they need to be able to trust him.
Right. So maybe he figures, well, I need to keep the trust.
Right.
Even though I screwed up really, really badly.
Right. And Felicity's gutted. Yeah, so she's the furthest out from him.
She should realize, well, they had to figure out how to get her and Oliver back together somehow.
Of course.
Right. Of course, now Oliver's involved with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess she'll probably meet an untimely end as well.
Mm-hmm. I'm guessing.
And then they'll be back together by the end of the season.
Yep, they're going to ride off into the sunset again.
Then they can go drive off and Oliver can bake souffles all he wants again.
In front of a green screen again.
Yeah, again.
That was horrible. Yeah, okay.
So thank you for that bad season 4 flashback.
Sorry. A flashback within a flashback. So yeah, here's how it ended though.
Right.
They have that little weird, awkward looking side to side hug so that we could see all their faces.
Yeah.
As we fade out. And of course Evelyn's not there because Evelyn.
I see what you did there. Very nice.
And she's mad at Prometheus because Prometheus doesn't want to kill him, just wants to make him pay for what he's done. And she's all pissy about that. And by the way, was that not a cool shot where Prometheus throws the shuriken?
Thank you.
And
I was gonna yell at you for that.
Cuts his arrow in half.
Yeah.
That was awesome, right?
It's like, oh, I guess I have to. Thanks for ruining my arrows.
Right.
Stephen ML on Twitter, he made a great line because he was live tweeting the episode, and he says, "Prometheus, it takes me like 40 minutes to make one of those arrows, and here you are just trashing it. Thanks a lot." Something like that, which I thought that was pretty funny.
Very nice.
Yeah, it was very nice.
Yeah, that's rude.
Yeah, it was rude.
Okay, so here's where it all ends, and I'm assuming a lot of this is Prometheus setting up pain and suffering. So Curtis goes back home. This is not Prometheus. Curtis goes back home, and his husband is leaving him.
Yeah, Paul is bailing on him. He's packing his stuff because he found out earlier that Curtis ended up getting attacked by Prometheus, and then it came out I'm working with Oliver Queen or the Green Arrow.
Mm-hmm.
And then Paul's like, I don't want I don't want to drag you away from this new life that you're obviously more interested in than me.
Right.
So
and he doesn't want to be at home. And okay,
I don't want to stick around and watch you die.
This is something I read romance novels a lot.
Right.
And they're different now. They're not like the romance novels that you would you normally think of. They're more complicated now. However, this is a very familiar thing. If I'm going to worry about you every day, then I can't be with you. Okay, so you're leaving...
The trope. Yeah.
You're leaving that person so you don't see them at all.
Right.
In the case that you might not see him someday.
Yeah.
So I don't get it.
It's an
You think it'll hurt.
It's an emotional reaction, not a logical reaction.
But it's going to hurt when you leave them now. Why don't you just stay?
I agree.
And be with them until something does happen.
Right.
I mean, what's the difference between staying?
So either I'm going to leave and make you miserable, or I'm going to stay and watch you get hurt. Yeah, I know. It is 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, isn't it?
But it's not, though. I mean, why don't you just stay and be happy while you could be happy?
Right.
I
think it's I don't want to encourage this behavior.
I guess, but he's saying he's happy.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I equate it to, I'm sick.
Yeah.
Right? I have MS. I have a disease that can't be cured. And it would be like my husband saying, well, I'm going to leave because you're going to die someday.
Right.
And I don't want to watch that happen.
Yeah. I agree. I get where you're coming from, but
because
sometimes you don't think clearly in these things.
I guess.
Right.
It's just dumb.
I do want to bring up, though, I thought it was a nice, refreshing change of pace, because normally you get this kind of exchange between a male superhero and his girlfriend or whatever, his love interest, and especially on a CW show.
Right.
This time we got it between a gay superhero and his love interest.
Right.
And
so not all things are happy.
But my point is, it's like, it's kind of just, it's a nice change of pace. It
Mhm.
shows you, a little bit of diversity here.
Right.
That,
I agree.
and I thought that was kind of, I just want to acknowledge that because that's not something, that kind of exchanges is something we see all the time between
Right.
two males or two
Right.
females.
I agree.
So,
And it didn't reflect badly on either of them, really. I mean, I get where he's coming from, although I still don't understand that whole mentality
yeah,
at all. But yeah. And then next was, of course, Felicity mourning over the loss of Billy.
right.
And then
Then we had Lila calling Diggle up to ask him, hey, why don't you come out to the
something's
safe house?
happening.
Something's wrong with JJ.
Right.
And
And she
of course he
shows up,
shows up, but guess what? There's a team of soldiers there to bring him
bring
in.
it back in. Right.
So
Which
thanks,
sounds
Lila,
like
for
dumb.
turning me in.
Lila didn't. Evelyn did.
Yeah, but why did Lila call Diggle up? Was he
It was a recording.
It was a recording?
Sure.
Okay. I thought it was like Lila turning him in.
No, Evelyn could have gotten her voice
Okay.
off of all kinds of things.
That's true. Maybe it was a modulator. There's only one or two of those on Arrow. So
Yeah.
yeah, good point. Good point. I'll take it. I see where you're coming from.
Evelyn's been down there a million times.
Right. Good point.
So, okay.
So
and
basically,
then,
and then lastly, we have Oliver going to Susan's place to make out with her. It's like, hey, I just killed Felicity's boyfriend. Let's make out.
yeah.
And then,
Well, she says, do you want to talk about it? And
yeah,
he says, no.
no,
Yeah.
let's make out.
Yeah.
And then he goes back to the Arrow Cave,
Mm-hmm.
and then who's there but Laurel Lance?
What is up with that?
Laurel Lance, you've just been flashpointed. Come on down.
You think?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I think so. Or we find out that what Oliver said she whispered to him was not exactly what she whispered to him.
Yeah.
And she's actually, like we originally postulated, that she faked her death.
Mm-hmm. Could be.
We'll find out.
Right.
So maybe it was just be like, hey, let's go back to the previous episode of the Fandom Zone where we said she was faking her death, and look how brilliant we are.
We're going to find out.
Yep. Or he's all stricken by grief and is hallucinating Laurel Lance just like Rick on Walking Dead.
He could be.
I hope not.
Or like on the next show that we're going to talk about.
Ooh, Legends of Tomorrow.
That's right.
But what's our rating?
My rating is 9 baby pictures because I really dug this. And knowing that Billy is not Prometheus leaves us open for several other people. Now, the baby picture was of a black kid,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't know that that kid is Prometheus either.
Right.
So it could be anyone still,
Well,
right?
I've got two suspects.
I want it to be Tommy, so
I want it to be Tommy. That's my number one suspect.
yeah.
But maybe they're throwing us a red herring with Detective Lance and his drinking. Maybe he's not really drinking. Went to rehab, and maybe
He's been in town for the last 4 years. He can't have trained with the Bratva. This person has followed and trained and all that stuff.
I know.
Now, Tommy could have.
Tommy could have. We could
'cause
find.
Tommy disappeared
Yeah.
4 years ago.
He did. He died. At the end of season 2, he died.
Right.
So yeah.
And he could have gone and followed
Or it could be actually, Claiborne's son.
It could be.
So, which I would think would be kind of
Now,
lame. Lame if it is.
It could be someone we know, though, because it's someone, there's a mother out there somewhere that had filed a paternity suit.
Yeah.
So it's not someone that was in the book or anything like that. It could just be someone that, oh, really? It's them? It could be
Yeah.
something like that.
I don't want it to be Claiborne's son because
That's
that
lame.
would be lame. Yes.
Right. I don't either. I want it to be someone who's angry about the book, the list.
I think it would be much more shocking if it was Tommy.
And Tommy was upset about the list.
Yep.
We know that much.
Right. And he's also like, well, you killed Laurel thinking Laurel's still dead.
Right. Exactly.
So it would make more sense from a
And the
story
fact that
standpoint.
Laurel's back.
Yeah. But Tommy might not know that.
Well, no, I'm saying the fact that Laurel's back would put a nice twist on that.
It would. Yep.
So, yeah.
Okay. So we'll find out.
So I gave it 9 baby pictures.
And I gave it 8.5 flash bomb arrows.
Flash bomb.
Flash bomb. Runs away.
Krieger.
Okay.
At least this one worked, though.
Yeah, it did. All right, moving on. Legends of Tomorrow, episode 8 of the second season, The Chicago Way. The Chicago Way.
Here's how you get him. He pulls a knife, you pull a gun. He sends one of yours to the hospital, you send one of his to the morgue. That's the Chicago.
There you go.
Nice. Very nice. And did you catch in this episode that there was a someone did a Sean Connery impression?
Yes. It wasn't good.
Was it Nate who did
It
the
was
Sean
Nate.
It was Nate doing the Sean Connery
It
impression.
was a horrible impression.
But at least he tried.
He tried.
I give him credit for trying.
Yes, me too.
A Sean Connery impression.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah.
It was. I get it, though.
Yeah. All right. So
everyone thinks they do a good Sean Connery.
this one was written by Sarah Nicole Jones and Ray Utarnachit, directed by Ralph Hemmicker.
Bless you.
Gesundheit. Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
And A, B, and C
story?
is yes.
They pull a knife, you pull a gun, as we just heard.
They pull a knife, you pull a gun.
Very nice. It's just as bad as Nate. Sorry.
Yes, it's okay.
I don't hear good ones very often.
Yeah.
Old partners.
Sean Connery. Yeah.
That's better, actually.
Well, because I'm taking a little time with it, but yeah.
All right. Old partners into new.
Okay.
It's about as good as my heat wave impression.
Heat wave. No, I can't top your heat wave impression. That's the best.
Destiny finds Rip.
Right. Yeah, so the welcome and long-awaited return of Rip Hunter, but in a completely unexpected way.
And we talked about the Sword of Destiny right before then. So
that's true. The Spear of Destiny.
Oh, Spear, sorry.
Yeah, it's a Spear. It's from Justice Society comics. Yeah. All right.
So Destiny finds Rip.
So yeah. They pull a knife, you pull a gun.
It's obviously about
going back to Chicago, 1927, and Al Capone, because we start off with everybody's favorite supervillain, Eobard Thawne, and Damien Dark.
Why is Eobard such a bad guy?
And Malcolm Merlyn.
Newly added.
Yep. So now we have kind of like a Legion of Doom now, as opposed to just two supervillains. Arriving in Chicago.
Who get added to it? Do you
What?
think? Who else are we going to get added to it?
Well, apparently I thought we were supposed to get Captain Cold.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
That'll be interesting.
Yes, it will be Captain Cold.
Or do you think maybe HR will switch over when he betrays them?
No, I can't see Abracadabra being part of this.
Okay.
No.
Just a thought.
Yeah, I don't see it happening.
He's a different kind of villain.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right. Besides, we got one guy from the future. That's enough.
Okay.
Because of Eobard.
Yeah.
So, All right. So we have that.
Elliot Ness.
Elliot Ness is getting in trouble. We had I forgot that we had Adam and Citizen Steel being bros, and they really played that up over and over, like they're just like brothers picking on each other.
This is part of the old
sibling rivalry thing.
Part of the old partners into new.
Yeah.
Storyline. There were lots of references to being like partners, teammates, stuff like that in this episode. Even on the Legion of Doom side, with them being partners.
Right.
Talking about, hey, meet our new partner, and then Malcolm shows up.
I gotcha.
All that stuff.
So anyway, they find about this aberration. So they go to Chicago, 1927, and
I have to say though, can I just say
1927 Chicago. But
the opening scene where Nate and Ray are sparring,
right,
like bros,
right,
and they're in that cargo bay, and Jax is really pissed off because
last time they were in that cargo bay, they breached the hull.
Right.
And then,
which caused a huge mess.
Yeah, because Nate got sucked out.
Right.
And then Ray had to go after him. And
feudal Japan and all that.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
here
they are doing it again. And then Sarah comes in after Jax.
Do I have to pull the car around?
Right. Yeah, basically. Like, if you guys don't knock it off, I'm going to pull this time machine right over.
She does this.
Yes, the eyes. Yeah.
With the eyes, right?
Right.
And then they're like, no, I have to...
Yeah, they start making fun of her as she leaves, and then she comes back.
And then she does this again.
Yep.
with the eyes.
Right.
I see you. I see you.
Do they really want to piss off an assassin for right?
I would say no.
I would think that would be a big mistake on their part.
Right. And I think they underestimate her sometimes.
I'm sure they do.
Small. She's got that.
She doesn't have powers, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't underestimate
She's no
her.
threat. Wink, wink. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
I think even Citizen Steel, she could probably kick his ass pretty good.
I would think so.
Right.
I think both of them she could disable. Because Ray, all you have to do is just kind of disable his suit, and he's worthless.
Right. Well, and she already knows the weak points.
Pretty much.
Stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Nate, all you have to do is just get him when he's not steeled up.
Right. That's it.
That's it. Easy.
And she could take them both down real easy.
Totally. My money would totally be on Sarah in that fight.
Yes, me too. So they need to cut it out with the taunting.
They need to mind your P's and Q's, Buster.
Right. So that was part of my old Partners into New thing.
Yeah. So they ended up going back and they saved Elliot Ness.
Right.
From getting killed by Capone. They put Ness in the care of Gideon and then decide to complete his mission where you got Ray thinking, I can be Elliot Ness. So, and everybody's like, no, Nate can be Elliot Ness because he knows about history.
Right.
And you're a big dork.
Right. Well, they're both big dorks, to be fair.
But Ray's
the
bigger
big dork.
Ray's a bigger dork.
Right. He is. A little bigger dork.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they do that. Sarah and Professor Stein end up getting kidnapped.
Right. They end up they go into this club. They try to infiltrate it, this speakeasy club. Sarah and Martin get abducted. He ends up telling Sarah about Lily while they're in captivity. And then
Sarah's not happy.
Right. And meanwhile, Mick is on the ship drinking like there's no tomorrow.
Right.
And having hallucinations of Captain Cold.
That's right.
Hey, Mick.
And he's like, Snart, go away.
I'm not going away. I'm here to torment you.
Cut it out.
Because you were dumb and decided to be a hero. And see what happened to me? I got killed.
Yeah. It's not exactly what it is built up to be, he says. Dying as a hero is not all that it's built up to be.
Right.
I don't care. Go away.
Just
what do you think? She's going to want you as a partner.
Right. Yeah, because he starts to get... Snart ends up going on it, basically writing Mick about his growing relationship with Vixen.
Right. And they're becoming partners. I don't know that there's a huge romance.
You think she cares about you.
Right. She's my only friend. Leave me alone.
She's not your friend. I'm your friend.
Go away.
Yeah, stuff like that.
He's not happy. He's got a bottle in his hand through the whole episode. He knows that Snart is not real,
right.
Which I liked. He was not buying into it, which was good.
Yeah.
And
we don't really get a resolution for that yet.
No.
He's still, as far as we know, going to keep having hallucinations.
Right.
So when Snart actually shows up,
he's not going to believe.
He's going to be like, "Is that a hallucination? Oh, it's not a hallucination."
Right. Now, we know that Professor Stein kind of had these hallucinations of his daughter. They were different, but he had them, and then all of a sudden, oops, there she was.
Oh, so could you think it'd be something timey-wimey?
Maybe it's similar flashes to Snart showing back up. His are just different because he's drinking.
Right.
So he's seeing them differently.
But nobody else seems to. Vixen was there.
Right. He doesn't. Yeah. She doesn't see it. No, it's not like that. Professor Stein's having them all in his head.
Right. I know that. But
it's just that Mick is drinking, so he sees.
So you think Mick is having this conversation in his head? He's not talking out loud?
Right.
Because I would think Vixen would overhear him talking out loud.
He's saying it all in his head.
Okay. All right.
We're just seeing it different because he's drinking and it's more of a conversation.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I just got the impression that he was talking out loud.
No, I don't.
Okay. All right.
I think he's just leaning up against the wall, staring off into nothingness, like an idiot.
Like an idiot. Okay.
Yeah.
Like an idiot.
Yeah.
All right.
And she comes around the corner and she's like, "Are you okay?" "What? Yeah, I'm all right."
Leave me alone, will you?
Yeah.
Okay, so so that was going
Oh, by the
on.
way, that dolphin thing was cool when she jumped into the water.
Yeah, because well, here's my thing: is like, all right, Ness goes into the water.
Hmm.
Okay, they kind of stand there posing for like a good minute,
I know.
and I'm like, dude's in the water. Why don't you go save him before he
Go in there.
drowns?
Right.
So Vixen channels a dolphin, swims into the river.
Hmm.
By the time they pull him out, he's already had like brain damage from being underwater too long, which could have been prevented had they gone right in.
Right. She
So,
could have gone in
so
way
they had to
before.
take him back, Ness back to the ship, so that Gideon could fix his brain.
I know.
And I'm like, what?
Luckily, because of that, he forgot the whole thing.
Yeah, great. It was all part of the plan.
Luckily.
Luckily. So a little,
Stupid.
yeah.
I was upset about that, but the dolphin thing was
That
cool.
that kind of bugged me. I nicked off a little bit because of that, but the dolphin part was cool. So yeah. All right. So the team ends up rescuing Sarah and Martin, bring them to the Wave Rider.
Martin.
Yes. Well, I'm getting to that because, well, it turns out that Martin, in quotes, is actually Eobard Thawne.
Right. Oh, that was terrible to watch.
Posing, yes, because so Thawne, like he's like all of a sudden betrays everybody because hey, I'm evil, and opens the door for Merlin and Capone's hired goons.
Yep. To come in with Tommy guns.
Yep. So Thawne, they try to take down Thawne with a speed gun.
A speed hampering gun.
Speed hampering gun. So basically, it kind of temporarily disables
Mm-hmm.
Eobard's powers.
It's like a mute gun.
But it doesn't last very long. So
Nope.
he gets
Just
away.
like a few seconds.
Yeah, exactly. It's barely useful.
Right.
This gun. So he's about to kill Vixen, but his watch suddenly goes off, and he decides to run instead.
Yep.
So the question is, what's up with the
Whoops.
watch?
What is up with the watch?
What's up with the watch?
Right.
Yeah.
What does he need to do?
Yeah, exactly. So there's a mystery there that needs solving. Sarah's ready to cut Malcolm Merlin's throat, but he buys himself time by offering up Professor Stein.
Yep.
So there's that. Stein gets, rescued, the real Stein, and then Sarah agrees with Stein not to erase Lily from the timeline. We had that.
Right.
So then this goes into Destiny Finds Rip,
Right.
our subject, where
Merlin
our Legion of Doom,
yeah.
newly united, complete this amulet they've been after the whole episode. So they put this thing together. Apparently, Eobard uses it to show Damien and Malcolm this hologram, which supposedly is like the map room in Indiana Jones, to get back to our Indiana Jones references.
It kind of looked like that.
Yeah, so basically it shows them where to find the Spear of Destiny.
Right.
Which, for those who don't read comics, and shame on you for not reading comics.
Why are you even listening to us?
Exactly. You better do your homework, kids. That's why we have us, because we do your homework for you.
We're explaining it.
We're like the Cliff Notes version of comic books.
That's right.
All right. So, the Spear of Destiny is this mystical artifact that Adolf Hitler used, because Hitler was very big into the occult, as you found out from watching Raiders of the Lost Ark. That wasn't just the movie.
No, he really was.
He really was.
Right. He tried everything.
So they kind of used this in the DC Comics. They played this up by the Spear of Destiny supposedly is the artifact that kept the Justice Society from going over and just taking out Hitler in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it was a way to explain away why the Justice Society didn't go across the ocean and take out Hitler, because they're awesome. And just take him out, yeah.
Right.
It's like apparently that because he had the Spear of Destiny, that's what kept the JSA at bay, and they couldn't do anything about it.
Right.
Even though they had the Spectre, even though they had Dr. Fate.
Right.
Just saying.
Yeah, but they had to have a way to say that.
Exactly, but that was their big write-up. So apparently now here on Legends of Tomorrow, they want to bring in the Spear of Destiny. So maybe we'll see the return of the Justice Society. I'm thinking.
I'm assuming we will.
Yeah, but Eobard thinks that they can use this to rewrite reality itself. And why do they want to rewrite reality, I wonder?
Well, he hates Barry, for one.
There's that. Maybe he wants to fix Barry's screw-up timeline.
No. He wants to get rid of Barry altogether.
Yeah.
We know that.
Yeah.
He wants to take out Barry when he's a kid.
So right.
How many flashes are going to be there by the end of all this?
I keep picturing, like, they keep, like, all these Barrys in a room, like, surrounding his mom. There's, like, 50 of them, or whatever.
Right.
Going, don't do it, don't...
No, do it.
Or like you
do it.
have half the Barrys going, do it, and the other half are going, don't do it.
And then there's like 6 Eobards.
Yeah.
And they're all like, okay, which Barry do I take?
Yeah. Or like there's a big free-for-all. They're all fighting each other. It's all it's like the scene in Preacher, where you have all these, that hotel room fight.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
Wouldn't that be hilarious if they did it? They basically did homage to the Preacher hotel room fight with the flashes and multiple flashes and multiple reverse flashes.
Yeah, that would be great.
That would be great. All right, so I'm getting totally off track. Sorry.
No, that was fun.
That was fun. All right, so lastly, we get this cliffhanger scene where we cut to 1967 Los Angeles, of all places.
Yeah.
Because that happens because Eobard says that they need to find Rip Hunter. So we go to 1967 Los Angeles. Guess what? There's Rip Hunter. Only, we see him with his big long coat and everything. Oh, guess what? It turns out to be a movie about the Legends of Tomorrow, because we have the Atom and somebody else. I can't remember who it was. Firestorm, maybe?
Maybe.
But or Sarah or something like that. But so it's like there's a movie being made about the Legends of Tomorrow, and it turns out the director is Rip Hunter.
Right. But here's the deal. Do you think he remembers who he is?
I don't think he remembers who he is. I
don't think so
because
either.
if you notice, he's got like really dark hair, like his hair's been dyed black, and he's acting like he's just this big shot director.
Right. He's got an American accent.
He's got an American accent, so something has happened where Rip's whole personality has been overwritten.
Right. It doesn't seem like him at all.
So whether he did this deliberately to himself or somebody did it to him, we don't know.
Right.
But that's our
but
mystery.
I don't think he knows who he is.
But at least Rip Hunter's finally back.
Right.
So I'm happy about that.
Me too.
All right. So Arthur Darvill, welcome back to Legends of Tomorrow.
Is he done now with Broadchurch or whatever it was?
I would think so.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure that's why they wrote him out, was so that he could film Broadchurch season 3.
Right, me too.
So hopefully that's done.
Yeah.
All right. So that's about it. So what's your rating, Karen?
I liked it. There were some weird parts, I thought.
Yeah.
But I did like some of the funny lines. I loved Mick in this episode.
Mick got a lot of, you got a good little spotlight in this episode.
Did. I like that actor, and I like that...
Dominic Purcell.
I like that we get to see more of him. He's a better actor than I gave him credit for, because whatever his name is, who played Captain Cold, ended up
Wentworth Miller.
Wentworth Miller.
Yeah.
Ended up stealing a lot of the spotlight from him in the other season in last year. So Dominic Purcell is coming into his own.
Yeah, with Cold gone this season, it's definitely given Dominic a chance to step up as Heatwave.
Mm-hmm. And you would think he'd be a one-note character, but he's really not.
No,
he's much more complex.
Well, they started doing that when they made him Kronos in season 1.
Right. They gave him a lot of depth.
And then they gave him the arc of like, oh, Snart's gone, so what do I do with myself?
Right. And they really made him very incredibly interesting, I thought.
Yeah.
So I like that in this episode, and the whole thing with him and seeing Snart and Vixen and all
He's
that.
almost kind of like the Wolverine, because he sits around drinking beer when he's not off doing super team stuff.
Right, exactly.
Give me a beer.
Right. And I kind of like the stuff with Ray and Nate, but they need to cut it out.
Yeah, they really were just constantly trying to one up each other, and it got really ingratiating. It's like one scene here, that's great.
Right.
It'd
the
be funny.
Seemed funny.
It was funny if they had dropped it, but then they kept going well, I'm better at this. I'm going to be Elliot Ness. No, I'm going to be Elliot Ness. And
right.
It just
shut
up.
Be part of the team.
Yeah.
Team.
All right, so
I give it 8.5 guns that need to be shot more often, because if they had just kept shooting that time-needing gun at him, everything would have been better. But they didn't. They just held it on him and talked to him.
Kind of
And
a
then
waste, isn't it?
he got away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the spirit of the 1920s, I gave it 8.5 cement shoes.
Yep.
Which
I want to put them on my husband.
and it makes me uh-oh. I was going to go in this big rant about Boardwalk Empire, but now I'm just like, oh, do tell.
Oh, do tell.
Gossip time.
You wouldn't have to put them on me. I can't swim.
Really?
So there's something
you can't swim?
you learned about me. Yep.
Okay.
My full, what do they call them? The tubes in your ear. In your inner,
okay. The oral canal?
The inner ear stuff.
Okay.
Anyway.
I don't, regardless.
There's not enough water fluid in them. So when I go underwater, I can't tell anything.
Oh.
I can tell which way's up, down, nothing.
It's like a complete vertigo, disorienting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I can't swim. I panic. I don't float. I know how to tread water, though.
Well, that's good. That's important.
Yeah, I learned that. I made sure to learn that.
That's good. At least you can do that.
So there's my thing.
Okay, well, I can swim, but...
Okay.
Yeah.
So you could run in and save me if I...
Yes.
Okay, good.
Because...
My husband can swim, too.
Here I come to save the day.
I just don't go into water.
Yeah.
I don't even have a swimsuit.
So, yeah, I could save you.
Okay.
Because I'm that kind of guy.
Well, thank you.
All right. It's what we heroes do.
Yay.
Yay. Okay, last show, finally. Luke Cage, episode 10 in the first season, Take It Personal, written by, not Make It Personal, Take It Personal.
Take It Personal.
Take It Personal, written by Jason Horowitz, directed by Steven Surgic.
Do you know how much that title hurts me?
Yes. How much does it hurt you?
A lot, because it should be Take It Personally.
Right.
But it's not, and it makes me cringe.
I keep wanting to say Make It Personal when I see that. I saw this title. I'm like,
Make It Personal.
Right.
Or it could be Take It Personally.
Yeah.
Both of those would
they
work.
They smushed it together.
Personal
yeah.
Doesn't. Yeah.
Gangstar, you have a lot to answer for that story title.
A story is The Prince and the Marauder.
Right.
The Prince and the Pauper. The B story is Anger Management.
Yeah.
And the C story is Mariah's maniacal mongering.
Oh, Mariah is up to no good in this episode.
She is up to no good.
So The Prince and the Marauder.
Yeah.
What is this? With this
Brothers.
Okay, I got you where you got it from. Okay. So, yeah,
someone is finding out about his brothers.
Yes.
His brother, and the other one is...
Well, to start off the episode, we had Claire and Dr. Burstein trying to revive Luke Cage and take out that shrapnel that's been in there for, like, ever.
Right. 2 episodes now.
At least. No, there was, like, he gets shot in episode 5. Episode 8. He was out episode 9 because Claire brings him down to Georgia.
Right.
And then episode 10, he's still got the shrapnel in him.
Right.
So, yeah. Oh, no, I take that. Yeah, so 2
3
long. Yeah, 3 episodes that we've been dealing with this.
Right.
So finally, Claire gets the bright idea to like, hey, let's throw some salt or whatever into the tank.
And the paddles.
Yeah.
So that it will connect.
Yeah.
It'll have connectivity.
So basically they can...
Boil him.
Yeah, so basically now that they've turned him into a lobster, acid lobster.
And he's fine.
Yeah, so because apparently they get him out and he heals right up.
Sure.
So no big deal.
I love what he did though. Who are you?
Yes, that was great. He pretends to not know who Claire is.
And Claire's like, what? I'm kidding with you, Claire.
That was great. I forgot about that.
I thought that was hilarious.
That was hilarious. Thank you for bringing that up.
He's not one to joke around.
No, he's normally a very serious guy. So, yeah it was good to see.
It was really funny.
Yeah. Of course, that should have been just him flirting with her. So,
Still.
Teasing her.
It was hilarious.
It was great. That was great. So, after he recovers there, Luke finds out, and they pull up some videos for Luke to watch. And Luke finds out that, guess what? Reva, the woman he loved, chose him for that experiment with Dr. Burstein, thought he was a great candidate. So it wasn't just like, I'm here to save your life. Yeah.
Hulk smash.
So, yes. So they so this really pisses Luke off.
Yeah, he's not happy about it.
And this is probably anger management.
Yes, part of it.
Yeah.
Also, it has to do with Diamondback.
So yeah, Luke gets all ragey. Is like he tries to like takes the computer and throws it through the barn wall, takes out the wall, and
This
yeah,
is my impression of Robert Kirkman, by the way. This is
Yes.
what he does whenever.
yeah, he does. It's like he's Donkey Kong.
Yes, that's what he does. Donkey Kong. Very nice.
Yeah,
Very nice.
thank you. That's
I
my
did all the sounds.
that's my gamer like.
I did all the sounds for Super Mario the
Yeah,
other
that,
week.
that was it. So that
Now you do Donkey Kong. Perfect.
yeah, that's my
And
Donkey.
then do the jump. Very nice. Very nice.
Thank you.
I like it.
That's my skills. All right. So I redeemed my impression skills.
Yes, you did.
All right. Good.
Like it. It's very good.
Thank you. Thanks, Heatwave.
You're welcome. Don't ask again.
Okay, Skirt.
It's the last time I'm ever going to be nice to you. Okay, there you go.
Thank you. That was great. All right. So we have Cage ends up threatening Burstein not to replicate the experiment.
Right, and that's why he trashes the lab.
Yeah. Well,
Mostly. And
mostly, but
he's angry.
he's also pissed off about Reva. Yeah.
Right, but trashing the lab helps.
So basically, they take the drive, and he and Claire get out of there. But, and I'm sure this is where you had a problem with it based on your rating, Burstein ends up revealed that he pieces together the hard drive enough to get it working and bring up the data.
I was just thinking to myself, really?
They showed him putting it together, but yeah.
Still,
Yeah.
you'll find out. The listeners, you'll find out when we get there what I'm talking about. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Look, I've done a lot of computer work, and that is pretty far-fetched, is what I'm saying.
Right. Okay.
So
the rest of anger management has to deal with probably Stryker.
Mm-hmm.
Stryker, whack.
Yep.
Airplane. So.
Yep.
Yeah, airplane reset. So Stryker ends up killing a policeman, and of course, he frames Luke for it.
The worst frame job ever.
It is.
I don't know how people believe it.
Well, they had that video of Luke when he threw those cops into the windshield.
I know, but it's dumb. Why would he say,
Yeah.
I'm Luke Cage? Why would he say that?
Yeah.
It's dumb.
Everybody's really like ready to turn on Luke.
Yeah.
And the police get angry. They end up getting more aggressive to find Luke Cage, with one cop beating the crap out of a teenage boy while he's in custody.
Right. It's Luke's pops.
Yeah, it was basically that kid that Luke protected by covering him up with his body when the hit went down and killed Pop.
Right.
That kid.
And they decide that they know that this kid hangs around with Luke sometimes, so they bring him in to question him, and he won't give up Luke.
Right.
So the cop roughs him up, and Mariah just happens to be there.
Right, and this leads into Mariah's maniacal mongering.
Right.
Because, basically she tries to throw, like, her support behind the kid. Like, she sets up this whole big ceremony at Harlem's Paradise.
Big rally.
Yeah, big rally. And
we're not going to take it anymore.
And Misty's like, why would she set it up at Harlem's Paradise if she was so traumatized by Cottonmouth's death there?
Because she's not.
Because obviously she's not.
Right.
So at the rally, Mariah insists, like, makes it all look like, oh, it's Luke Cage's fault.
Right.
Like, remember, and there's a nice little nod to Jessica Jones, because she's like, hey, there was this girl over there in Hell's Kitchen who killed that guy because he was mind controlling her.
Right. Snapped a man's neck.
Yeah.
Just because he was mind controlling her.
Right.
Yeah. And she says, do I trust the cops? Not unconditionally.
Right.
And she shows that picture of the kid. He's up on big posters.
And apparently everybody has forgotten the video footage of the reporter, like, that incriminated Mariah for being connected to Cottonmouth.
Right. Well, she's definitely drawing attention away from it.
Yeah.
All this stuff. You know how easy.
All she needed to do was get on Twitter and apparently tweet about it, and that's how you get. That's how you, like, take people's attention away from the shady stuff you're doing.
It's really the way to go.
It's the trendy thing now.
People get elected because of it.
They do. They do. So, all right.
Can
So,
you hear us
yeah,
saying that?
yeah. So, where were we? So while she's there at the rally, after she speaks, one of her like party members tells her that I know what you're doing. I see through you. I see you, Mariah. I see what you're up to.
That's right.
And
I know you're shady.
Yeah. So obviously he's not gonna live very long.
Right. He'll get taken down.
Yeah.
Also, Misty kind of is looking around behind the scenes.
Right.
And she notices that there's some management changes happening in the city.
Mm-hmm.
That all the other heads of the other organizations, except for the, what is he, Puerto Rican or?
I think so, something like that. So
except for him.
Yeah, one of the Hispanic gang member leader. He oversees this boxing gym, and that's where Misty goes to talk to him.
Right.
And
but he's the only one left standing.
And he says, "You might want to go down to that rally."
Right. He says, the Harlem Club, it's under new management.
Right. That's it. Yeah, that's what he says.
And so that's why she goes to the rally.
So she goes to check everything out. She's there. She sees Stryker.
Right.
So she goes to try to arrest him, but then he ends up shooting her.
Right. In the shoulder.
And then Luke shows up because he's there.
And someone goes, "Look, it's Luke Cage."
Yeah, so basically Luke gets framed for shooting Misty, apparently, and causing all this chaos.
Saving her.
So he jumps down from the second level to get Misty to safety.
Right, and all the while Diamondback is shooting him in the back.
Right, and then all the goons.
Of course, they're regular bullets. So
right, the higher goons, yeah.
Nothing's happening to him. So he's saving Misty.
Yeah, so he's probably... But then they basically ends up getting cornered behind a bar.
Right.
Where they met.
Mm-hmm.
Ironically.
Not so ironic.
I'm sure that was deliberate.
Yeah.
So that's where we're left off.
Right.
Cliffhanger.
But lots of things happening. And he also, when he goes with Claire on his little journey, they visit the church that his grandfather founded.
Right.
And he sees flashbacks of his father and his father's secretary.
Thank you for bringing this up.
Who happens to be Diamondback's mother.
Right. So we kind of get that little bit.
Right. He puts the puzzle together that things were happening right under his nose, and he sees it through adult eyes now.
Right.
And sees what was really happening.
That apparently Daddy was not as faithful as you would like.
Right.
Papa was a rolling stone.
He sure was. And he laid his hat a lot of places, apparently.
Yeah, he did.
He laid his hat,
yeah,
as it were.
On his secretary, apparently.
Yeah. And Diamondback is older than he is because his mother couldn't conceive. And so his father had a son with his secretary, and then later on, his father had a son with his wife.
And they all chalked it up like a miracle baby.
Right. And his father didn't like him very much, but then Diamondback feels resented as well. So they both have issues to deal with. But, doesn't everyone have issues? Do you really got to take it out like this?
Apparently Diamondback does.
Yeah.
He's got a rage on.
Well, the two mothers didn't like each other.
No, there was some really cold, back and forth.
Really bad.
Yeah. So we did get that backstory as well. Thank you.
Thanks. I liked seeing that flashback.
Yeah, that was a good flashback. I agree. And it was good because it kind of, we got a little glimpse into Luke's childhood a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So that was good. All right. So what was your rating for this?
I also I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Meant to bring this up too. He and Claire are on the beach and they're talking, and it looks like he's gonna give her a hug or something or a kiss.
Yep.
And what he does is he runs his hand down her arm and he puts his hand in her pocket and takes her keys.
Yeah.
And says, "I'm driving," and that was all that came.
She's like, "About time."
Right. And they don't do anything except he just steals her keys. So anyway, I'm sorry.
But there is some flirting going on.
There a little bit of
A
flirting.
little bit of flirting.
Yeah. Okay, I really like this episode mostly because of the backstory and
Right.
how well it was done and seamless with it going from the old church to this new version of the church. It just kind of morphed back and forth from the old beat up church to the new looking old church
Right.
and things like that. I love the production values on this show. So I give it 8.5 miraculously working hard drive.
Right. Just all of a sudden it works.
You
So,
plugged it in and whoop, we're up it comes. And
yeah, yeah. So I was a little less kind to this one. I gave it 8 busted up barns.
not much less.
Not much less, but like I'm glad that we're finally over the shrapnel
Yeah, me too.
because that was dragging on big time.
Mhm.
But I don't like the fact that all this framing going on.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's turning
And
against.
it's dumb framing,
It is dumb framing. People should be like seeing through this.
big time.
But
But I can see why they're not. They
Right.
want a scapegoat,
well, and Mariah's riling people up. I get that.
right?
But you would think that some people, like in the police,
Right.
would hopefully, especially when you have the Misty's superior,
Right.
like
She should
realizing what's going
not
on.
Luke
But
Cage,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
I'm Luke Cage. Come on.
yeah,
Really?
yeah, yeah. Especially when you don't see his face.
Right.
And,
A guy
yeah,
doesn't go around killing someone and then announcing who he is. That's a setup.
yeah,
Sorry.
exactly. So, especially when Misty is telling her it's a setup, and you
Right.
had that kid in custody saying it's not Luke Cage.
Right.
Come on.
And now he can prove he was somewhere else. So
I just think it's reaching a little bit.
it is a little bit.
So,
But I really liked it.
Yeah.
I love the production values in this.
yeah.
episode.
So we only have 3 more to go. So, all right. So, do we have some feedback from Justina?
We do.
All right, let's play it.
Hi, Karen and Charles.
Hi,
Flash
Justina.
started this out with some holiday flair. Why is there always a bad guy in town when they're just trying to have a nice party and a nice nog off?
Right.
It was pretty cool to go to Earth 3, grab Jay Garrick, and catch a glimpse of the trickster. Pretty awesome to see 3 speedsters in action as Wally attempts to put his training into practice. Do you think the writers chose the Philosopher's Stone part of the Flash mythos on purpose after they hired Tom Felton? It seems with all the references we've gotten over the years that there's definitely a couple of Harry Potter fans on the writing staff.
It's
So
from
I
the
was
comics.
wondering, when they chose this arc in particular for this season, they put the Philosopher's Stone because of its strong Harry Potter connection.
It's a
I'm hoping that
coincidence.
Julian coming to the Christmas party and telling Barry that he can come back means that maybe we have a new member to Team Flash. You guys have talked before about how in the comics, Barry and Iris are married and have kids and grandkids. So is there a comic book story in which Iris is killed by a bad guy and doesn't get to live happily ever after with Barry? Or is this just something that the writers are inventing for the show? Either way, the future is a collection of decisions, each decision changing the future in subtle ways. So I am hoping that Barry and the team figure out a way to avoid this possible horrible future without Iris. Flash gets 9 out of 10 training sessions for vocal training, for caroling later. Arrow tried to start with some Christmas cheer too, but that went downhill rather quickly. When they show Oliver from 4 years ago as the Hood, working nearly alone and violently taking out people from his father's list, I am really reminded how much Oliver has changed over the years. He works pretty cohesively with the team now. I could really see the remorse etched in his face as he had to tell Felicity what happened to Billy. So Billy was not Prometheus, he was just a pawn. So I'm going with my next theory that Prometheus is connected to the Bratva. So sad for Curtis and Paul. It's gotta be hard to be married to a superhero. I feel like the real life equivalent would be being married to a police officer, firefighter, or soldier, knowing that your loved one is doing a very important job, but always afraid that they won't come home. This episode was a horrible holiday episode, leaving 2 of my favorite characters, Felicity and Curtis, crying in the end. But as a mid-season finale, it was awesome. What's gonna happen to Diggle? And then, Laurel! What's happening here? Is this a result of Flashpoint? Is this a result of Sarah changing Damien Dark's course in 1987? This episode had a lot of pharmaceutical tie-ins. Did Susan spike Oliver's drink? Is he hallucinating right now? So in the end, this episode got 8 out of 10 possibly drugged drinks. Legends had to save some people from sleeping with the fishes. And I finally get my answer of my question of where Malcolm is. He's hanging out with the other bad guys, Eobard and Damien. Martin is very distracted as he's flooded with memories of Lily. That is so adorable. She sang the periodic table instead of the ABCs. Watching Sarah fight Malcolm was awesome. We learned that Gideon can fix brain damage, and she may have been working on Mick's brain, but now Mick is seeing hallucinations of Captain Cold. Is this brain damage, or is this just a physical manifestation of the guilt that McRory feels for accepting and being part of a new team? Sarah won't accept Malcolm's deal. She would rather suffer in a present that's real than to escape to a perfect reality that isn't real. And she said her team is her family now, and she must protect them. Sarah has grown a whole lot and is becoming a wonderful, wonderful captain. Amaya channeled the dolphin power in this episode. Citizen Steel and Ray worked wonderful together, and we got to see Ray get really tiny again. He helped win the fight that way. I can't remember if they actually said it in the show or not, but because we were watching The Mob, all I could think of was, say hello to my little friend, because the anime is really little. The bad guys have the amulet, oh no, which will lead them to an artifact that can rewrite history. This could be really awful. But first, they have to find Rip Hunter. What is he doing in L.A. in 1976? This show is getting curiouser and curiouser. Just occurred to me. Oliver and McRory are seeing dead people. Oliver seeing Laurel and Mick seeing Captain Cold. Do you think there's a connection there? This episode gets 9 out of 10. Boys will be boys. But don't tear up the cargo bay. I got my eye on you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, Karen and Charles. And also to all of you out in the Fandom Zone. See you next year.
Oh,
Thank you, and happy holidays to you too, Justina.
right. Because she only watches the shows that have gone on hiatus.
Right.
So we won't get.
That's true. Yeah. So, for two responses to Justina. There.
Hold on a minute.
Okay.
She left some stuff out, so I have to read it real quick.
Okay. What's the other
So
stuff?
she says she's correcting herself here. She says Cisco, Heatwave, and Oliver are all seeing dead people, and she knows I like emoticons, so she put a little ghost skeleton face.
That's cool.
Emoticon.
Okay.
And then she said, and Prometheus and Savitar are both promising fates worse than death. And she puts the skeleton face.
Oh, okay.
And then she says, this can't be a coincidence, can it? Question mark, question mark, question mark. And then she said, I forgot this part, my feedback. And then she put a happy face. So she told me to put that in.
Emoticon overload.
Well, she knows I like it.
I know. So she was indulging you.
Right.
Okay. All right. So two responses to Justina.
Yes.
Okay.
I know you don't like the Harry Potter thing. So.
No, that's okay. That's all right. We talked about that. It's just a coincidence.
Okay.
All right. First response. Yes, there was a storyline where Iris Allen, after they were married, was killed.
Mm-hmm.
She was murdered by a guy named Clive Yorkin.
Mm-hmm.
And that set off a big storyline because the death of Iris Allen, where Barry has to come to terms with the fact that, his wife is dead, and it ultimately leads back to Professor Zoom, the Reverse Flash,
right.
And there's a little grudgy going on, but we find out at the end of the Barry's original Flash series, that Iris is actually alive in the far future.
Right.
And she's inhabiting the body of a young woman who had just died. Her spirit was kind of sent across time because apparently in the original continuity, we find out that Iris was actually from the future.
Right.
So, yeah, and her parents rescued her from death and put her spirit in this young woman's body.
Right.
And then the Barry and Iris are reunited in the future.
Right.
So that happened.
Yes.
And two,
I knew it was a convoluted storyline.
It is a very convoluted storyline.
I knew it happened though.
So yeah, but I forgot the second one now. I forgot the second thing I was going to bring up. What was it? That's all right. Never mind.
Tomorrow.
We're long anyway.
We're really not because it's the second.
Yeah, but still.
We are for us.
Yeah, we are for us. So that's all right. No
yeah,
big deal. I'm trying to remember what it was. No big deal. All right, moving on. Don't want to keep us like hanging over nothing.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
okay. So
How can you send feedback?
How can you see back? Just like Justina. Okay, so we have this little thing called fandomzonecast@gmail.com.
That's right.
Where you can email us, or you can reach us at fandomzonecast on the Twitter machine, Facebook, of course, and iTunes, where you can leave us some feedback there if you want. That'd be great.
iTunes. Yeah.
Okay, I see what you did there.
Yeah,
Karen,
on Facebook, just search for Fandom Zone Podcast.
Yep. So you can reach us there, but the easiest way is probably doing the Phantom Zone cast or at the Phantom Zone podcast Facebook page.
Right.
So you can reach us there. Karen, where can they reach you?
At Elevaria on Twitter, Alevria.
Yes.
And there's a link in my bio, and you can click on that, and it will go to my blog, at which I now have a post open that I am continuing to write for the last week that I've not finished. But there is a Find Me post pinned to the top of my page, and it has all my links there. So
okay.
Where can they find you?
Of course, at Charles Skaggs on the Twitter machine, at Charles Skaggs on the Instagrams, Facebook, of course, Google Plus for all you crazy kids on the Google Plus. And then there's this little blog that I run called Damn Good Coffee and Hot.
Damn good coffee and hot.
My blog of geeky things where I talk about all these shows and more.
That's right.
And that's about it, I think.
I think so.
I think we did good. So this is, like I said, this is our last
podcast about Doctor Who.
Yeah, there's this little podcast I do called Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast.
That's right. It's a good one.
And there's going to be something else in the future. Look for something else in 2017.
Damn good coffee and hot.
That might give you a clue. Yes.
That's right.
So stay tuned, everybody.
I still have to watch it. I promise you, I will. It's just getting time.
You might as well do it while our shows are on hiatus. That's a great time. That's a great time to do it.
It is a good time.
So yeah.
Yeah, Timeless will be on hiatus too.
Yep. So now you have some time, and you'll be looking for stuff to watch over the holidays. So there you go.
That's right.
That can give you
That'll
something.
Be good.
That's an option.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let me know what you think.
I will.
All right.
Promise.
Okay. So everybody, thanks for everything. This is our last big episode, as we talked about. So we're going to still cover the Walking Dead mid-season finale next time, as well as episode 11 of Luke Cage. And then we're going to have to figure out what we're doing.
Yeah, we'll be finishing out Luke Cage. And then, let us know if there's something special you want us to talk about.
Yeah, if you've got some suggestions, we're all for it. So drop us a line. Let us know stuff we haven't covered before.
Right.
We should qualify that. If we've already covered it, it can be kind of pointless.
And it'll have to be something, self-contained.
Yeah, because we've already done Birds of Prey. We've already done Jessica Jones. We've already done Daredevil.
We're not going to watch a whole season over the winter hiatus.
Just a few. Just something short and sweet.
Right.
Maybe a few episodes of something.
Right.
So, any suggestions? Maybe some Smallville. Maybe some Smallville or what have you. Lois and Clark. There's an idea. That'd be fun.
Yeah, whatever.
So,
if you have some special episode that you like that you want us to talk about, I'd be happy to do that. Whatever.
Okay.
So there's that. So just let us know.
All right. And that'll about do it. So, everybody, have a good holidays if we don't hear from you again. And we'll see you next time right here on the Phantom Zone podcast. Wow.